Okay, quick little video here today from the GCM Scale Garage. I want to show you how to make shock adapters. So there's this big problem that we're having here because we like to use shocks that are scale looking on when we're building our scale trucks here. And one of my favorite shocks to use is this great little shock, which is Lossy Mini T rear shock, or Lossy Mini crawler shock. These are the aluminum Lossy versions, and they're a little hard to find, but these are super smooth. They have very nice valves in them, easy to seal. I really like these a lot, and they're easy to find nice small springs for from 1/18 trucks and such. So this is actually a great scale shock for a pretty light truck in the 1/10 scale truck size, but there's a real problem. Most of the hardware on our shocks are M3 size. And so the M3 hardware will go through the shock, but it's pretty sloppy. There's a lot of free play in there, and so you end up with this sort of a loose rolling, clunking round truck. And the ball joints that come with these little shocks are so small, they're designed for M2 hardware, and there's just no way that you can get the M3 screw in there without literally drilling the whole entire thing right off. So instead of doing that and ruining the ball, I'm going to show you a little tip here in the GCM Scale Garage so that you can make up the slack between the two. Now this is really easy. I mean, as you can see, the M3 shock collar that would go on the frame, it's just too big to fit in here. And if we drill this out, there's going to be no more material left there for the shock collar to actually do its job. So, you know, they're basically the same size. But what you can do is get a little piece of heat shrink tubing. I mean, you don't need a very big piece, and cut some tiny little slices off it. You can see I cut 2 here, and all you do is put them on the screw first. So because of the way the shock is, it's such a small eye in the shock that the screw head will actually hold the shock on by itself. So if you slide the fuel tubing on, or the heat shrink tubing on, and then shrink that, put a second layer on it, and shrink that, then when you get those two on top of each other, you get the exact fit to put the shock on, and it's a nice tight fit now. So there's no more play in the screw, and the rubber of the heat shrink actually gives it a little bit of flex. And this is a great way to adapt a mini size shock with a small ball end onto an M3 screw, and then you can use it in your scale trucks. And that's our tip for the day, using heat shrink to make up shock adapters for small shocks and big trucks from the GCM Scale Garage.